Слава Ісусу Христу і добрий вечір. Вітаю вас в імені Союзу українських організацій Австралії в часі нашого лонч, нашої презентації, нашого нового веб-сайту Positive Living and Wellbeing. В часі ковіду Управа Союзу українських організацій Австралії відразу покликала робочу групу. Ця робоча група, яку очолив Стефан Хомен, почали, щотижня сходитися. Це голови наших громад, це представники наших церков, це представник Дністра і нашого посольства. Поспільно ми хотіли допомогти нашій спільноті. А відтак ми почали думати, що далі робити. Ми запросили наших професіоналів, наших психіатрів, наших counselors, щоб нам допомогли. І в кінці ми попросили наших складових частин, щоб подумали, як ми можемо один одному допомогти. Бо ми маємо бути здорові, духовно здорові, психічно здорові і також фізично здорові. І наш сайт хоче вам в цьому допомогти. Сьогодні ви почуєте від представників наших церков, від посольства, від політиків, від голів громад та від інших, які будуть вам трошки розповідати про нашу працю. Також почуєте від голови нашого комітету, почуєте від Христини Комет, яка займалася цим сайтом, і Наталка Мирошка, які займаються програмою Art in Lockdown. Це дуже важливо, тому що ми хочемо, щоб ми всі були позитивно настроєні. Тому бажаю вам приємного launch. On behalf of the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organizations, welcome to our launch, the launch of Positive Living and Wellbeing. COVID has thrown us some challenges, and the AFUO, I think, has tried to meet those challenges. Today, during the launch, you'll hear from our church leaders, you'll hear from the embassy, you'll hear from some politicians, you'll hear from our Holove Hromad, from Stefan Homan, who chaired the committee, from Christina Comet, who coordinated this program, from Natálka Moroška, who's involved in lockdown. A great evening just to build ourselves up physically, mentally, and spiritually. A strong community, which is strong physically, which is strong mentally, which is strong spiritually, is a strong community. But a community that recognizes that some may need help is even a stronger community. So therefore, enjoy the launch, enjoy what people have got to say. Most importantly, spread the word. We're here to help. The site is here for you. It's here for young, for old, for those who sometimes maybe feel a little bit lonely. So a bit later on, I'll come back and just explain the site to you. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katerina Argeru, and I'm the co-chair of the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organizations. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to our online launch tonight of our Positive Living and Wellbeing website, which has been created by the community for the community. And a massive effort, an enormous amount of work has gone into this, so we are incredibly excited to launch this tonight. Today, you'll hear from our Ukrainian community leaders from all across Australia, and we will also have the Northern Territory joining us tonight, which is very exciting, and we'd like to welcome them aboard. COVID-19 has impacted our lives in many ways. And although we often talk about what we think about Australia's closed borders and what it's like working from home, we rarely have the time and sit down and have the same conversations about how we feel. We rarely talk about our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So this is where the website has come in. We try to provide resources and address some of those things that people may not discuss about in public, but they do think about in private. So as a mother of an 11-month-old, I can safely say that this past year has been probably one of the most stressful in my life as I try to balance motherhood, my work commitments, as well as my community responsibilities. But I am very fortunate to say that during this time, I have had an incredible Sydney community to lean on. Members of the community that have helped me from the day that my baby has been born to helping with things that have to do with work. I have been able to lean on them for their physical as well as emotional support, which I could not be more grateful for. So I too hope that through this website you find something for you. There are many resources there. There are many links. There are also many organizations that are highlighted there, which are doing incredible things, sometimes behind the scenes, and sometimes not available or known to everyone. So that's why this website is a point of reference that we hope that you will be able to go on to connect. And we hope that through this launch, we will help create a more connected community all across Australia. So please do enjoy the launch tonight. And if you do have any feedback, or if you would like something else to be included to highlight what your community has been doing, for example, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to put everyone up on there and share with very big pride of what our Ukrainian Australian community is doing. So please enjoy tonight.
У березні цього року Управа Союз українських організацій в Австралії покликала робочу групу. Це є краєва робоча група, яка я очолював. Наші представники є наші голови всі нашої громади, наше духовенство, наше посольство і наша фінансова кредитова спілка «Ністер». Ми є разом із вами. Ми разом перейдемо цю кризу і підтримуємо один одного. The Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations COVID-19 Task Force was formed in March this year and has met online virtually every week to discuss how best to service the Ukrainian community in Australia during this time. The group was initially formed to provide a central place for our community leaders to discuss best practices and share information on how to deal with and adhere to COVID-19 restrictions and keep our community safe and connected. It became a forum for our community leaders to stay connected. I chaired this group, which included community representatives from all state Hromade, our churches, our financial credit union Yster, Kalina Care Aged Care Facility, and our Embassy of Ukraine in Australia. We also had specialist advisors join our meetings to provide specific information and advice as we needed it. The group to date has had over 30 online meetings discussing a range of issues impacting on our communities. 2020 will probably be remembered as the year that many of us would like to forget. COVID-19 has completely changed the way we live and interact. Our Ukrainian community organisations relied on regular social interaction to keep our communities actively engaged, to be able to maintain and promote their traditional Ukrainian community activities and culture. These organisations have financial costs and commitments to deal with and rely on their fundraising at social events and activities to ensure their financial survival. Getting together is a fundamental part of Ukrainian community life. Going to church, having face-to-face meetings, planning events, going to rehearsals, performing at concerts, participating in youth group activities, going to Ukrainian language school, attending Ukrainian dancing rehearsals and going to lessons. These are all activities that were no longer allowed. Staying connected during these times is essential. Our COVID-19 task force group kept its finger on the pulse with what was happening within the Australian-Ukrainian community. Along with the financial stresses our families were facing and our communities were facing, we're also concerned about the well-being of our people. In Victoria in particular, the effect of being isolated in lockdown for an extended period has taken its toll on people. Being confined to their houses, not being able to see their family and friends, not being able to take part in the usual Ukrainian community activities, and not even being able to go to church. Many are having to deal with additional financial stresses, reduced working hours. Many have lost their jobs. Many are working from home and having to deal with having their children at home all the time from school. And all this is placing more stress on the family unit. All this creates a lot of anxiety, which is a concern to all of us. Many helpful ideas to help our community have been discussed and put forward. And these initiatives and using our online resources that are available to us and social media networks to connect and engage with their community are great. The Art in Lockdown initiative was a great initiative, and it got people to share their creative endeavours online, and it showed how many truly talented people we have in our community. Staying connected during these times is essential. Психічне здоров'я та добробут дуже важливі. Наше психічне здоров'я – це невід'ємна частина кожного з нас. Пандемія COVID-19 і інші проблеми призвели до того, що багато людей відчувають себе розгубленими, розчарованими і в депресії. Для більшості COVID-19 на сьогодні змінив спосіб нашого життя та роботи. Підтримку можна отримати у родичів і друзів або у професіоналів, але час від часу ми всі потребуємо підтримки і поради. Our task force identified that there was a need to support our community with information on positive living and our mental well-being. How could we help? By informing individuals where help is available. There are experts and established trusted sources of assistance provided by qualified people and organisations who can help. We were also very impressed with the mental health experts from within the Ukrainian community and for them coming forward and offering their advice. It just goes to show you that Ukrainians want to help each other. The strength of community is to unite during times of adversity. The Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations Positive Living and Wellbeing Information Portal is a support initiative that provides information as we negotiate our way through these challenging times, as individuals and in our families, in business, within our Australian Ukrainian community and beyond. Positivity draws strength for you and those around you. We are very proud to launch the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations Positive Living and Wellbeing website, and we thank all those involved in bringing this to fruition. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Senator Katrina Billig. As co-convener of the Australian-Ukrainian Parliamentary Group in the Federal Parliament, I'm pleased to help launch the AFUO Positive Living and Wellbeing website. 2020 has been a year full of challenges for us all. We've had to learn to adapt to new ways of working, living, learning and caring. And these challenges have affected us in different ways. I'm sure many of us at times have needed some additional support. Ukrainian community organisations across Australia have each undertaken their own programs in their communities to meet the needs of their members. This website is a fantastic tool to provide additional resources to our Ukrainian Australian communities. With much of the information in Ukrainian, this website will aim to unite, give focus and direct individuals to the numerous support programs in place for the wider Australian community. So I encourage everyone, have a look at the new website, promote it to your friends and networks and utilise the resources available.
Слава Ісусу Христу! Дорогі українці в Австралії! Передаю вам щирий привіт з України, із міста Львова, де я зараз перебуваю. Ось вже декілька місяців, як я не можу прибути до вас. З нетерпінням чекаю цього моменту, коли зможу вилетіти з України до Австралії, де Господь мене кличе бути єпископом для єпархії Верховних апостолів Петра і Павла в Мельбурні, Української католицької церкви. Dear members of Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organizations, the time we are in now is very special. We have never been so close as we are today during the coronavirus pandemic. It is very necessary for us Ukrainians to preserve our church, culture, tradition, and identity. Of course, we can communicate with family, friends, colleagues, thanks to modern smartphones. But this can't replace live communication. Today, I am very happy to support the initiative The Art of Lockdown, a visual virtual exhibition event. This platform has been operating on Facebook since Ukrainians' Independence Day on August 24th this year. Thanks to this, we were all able to see the great talents of our people, children and youth. In addition to culture, it is very important to remember spirituality. Creating a new platform for spirituality for well-being is a good source from which each of us can benefit for our spiritual growth. My sincere thanks to the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organizations and to all those who contributed to the creation of these few initiatives, which aim to unite us into one family. May the Lord help us to emerge from this pandemic stronger and spiritually enriched. I remember all of you in my prayers. Слава Ісусу Христу!
Glory to Jesus Christ. As you know, the past few months have been extremely challenging for all of us. We have had to adjust to a whole new way of life, and this has required creativity in the way churches could continue the important ministry to their faithful. While live streaming has kept believers connected to their places of worship, there is no substitute to attending religious services in person and receiving the holy sacraments. With the continued reopening of our churches in the coming months, we look forward to the time when places of worship will be permitted to welcome all those who wish to attend their religious services. We welcome the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations' Positive Living and Wellbeing program. My wife, Katya Solomko, is the Wellbeing Ambassador for the Australian Capital Territory, and both of us are pleased to be part of this program. It is important that we continue to support one another through the uncertain times which lay ahead of us. Please check in with your family and friends regularly to ask them, are you okay? Sometimes a simple conversation can make a significant difference to a person's well-being. Remember, we are all in this together.
Слава Ісусу Христу! Дуже приємно мені сьогодні привітати всіх вас, котрі святкують випуск у світ цієї нової програми Wellbeing. Очевидно, це є щось дуже важливе для цілої української громади під час цієї пандемії, котру ми переходимо. Я дуже вдячний, що наша громада, тобто церква і громада разом працюють над тим, щоб полегшити наші переживання у цих трудних часах. I would like to greet everyone on the occasion of the launch of this well-being program, which I think is so very important and necessary. I'd like to congratulate the whole committee that has been working on this tirelessly for the last couple of months. You've done an excellent job, and I would totally recommend that the program that you put together would be used by everyone throughout Australia in our Ukrainian community because it addresses a very important need, a need which has arisen during this time of the pandemia. Slava Navi.
Дорога українська громада, дорогі мої українські австралійці, Сьогодні я звертаюсь до вас з великим задоволенням по великій і добрій справі. Ви всі знаєте, скільки біди принесла всьому світу, Україні, Австралії, підступна інфекція, хвороба і викликана неї пандемія, яка вразила мільйони і мільйони жителів планети, в тому числі і тут, у нас, в Австралії. Підступність цієї хвороби не тільки в тому, що вона забирає здоров'я і навіть життя, а в тому, що вона руйнує те, що саме дороге у нас – спілкування. Без чого не може бути родини, без чого не може бути громади, спілкування і взаємна підтримка. Нам треба вийти з цього кута. Особливо зараз, коли ті заходи карантину дають вже позитивний ефект, нам як ніколи потрібна взаємна підтримка і взаємна опіка. Підтримати нас і особливо ті, хто найбільш враженим цим, старших людей, наших батьків, дідів, прадідів, бабусь, далеких і близьких друзів, підтримати у спілкуванні з тим, щоб пережити цю моральну і фізичну недугу. Ментальне здоров'я кожного українця, да не тільки українця, це цінність. Це цінність, яку ми маємо дбати про яку, опікуватись якою і створювати якусь базову підтримку. Я тішусь тим, що дізнався, що українська громада в Австралії і саме СУА ініціювала нову віртуальну платформу, яка буде опікуватися і встановленням, відновленням нашого спілкування, наших зв'язків, наших комунікацій. У нас є хороший приклад, який не так давно був започаткований СУА. Це віртуальна платформа мистецтва карантину. Це дійсно success story, яке показало, що ми всі разом можемо так добре вийти з цієї біди, збагачуючи один одного, розвиваючи свої якісь здібності. Ті, хто ніколи не тримав пензля, почали малювати. Ті, хто вишивав чи зашивав тільки дірки, почали добре вишивати. Чи помножили ті здобутки, ті знання, які вони здобули, коли виконували ці мистецькі твори. Я дуже пишаюсь цим проєктом, і тому я вірю, що нова віртуальна платформа, яка називається Positive Living and Wellbeing, яка так необхідна, вона буде успішною. Успішною, тому що ми беремось за неї. Ми, українці, і ми будемо підтримати один одного. На цій платформі будемо розміщати якісь позитивні історії, якісь кулінарні рецепти, якісь поради з свого карантинного життя. Згадаємо наших старших, сімейні історії, які можуть бути розпочані. Все це дає нам змогу спілкування. Бо я вірю, що хороший настрій, позитивне ставлення до життя, воно подолає будь-яку недугу. Всі ми знаємо, що там, де українці, там хороший настрій, там пісні, там хороша музика і хороша закуска. Так що будемо дбати про своє ментальне здоров'я, будемо підтримувати один одного, будемо здорові, будьмо.
Дорогі українці у Вікторії, dear members of our Hromada in Victoria, today SUA and Hromada around Australia are launching a positive living and wellness program. Сьогодні говоримо про програму оздоровлення. Чому це є важне? Why is this so important? Життя наше є дуже складне. Багато речей по світі ми не розуміємо. And we're worried about the future. Ми всі турбуємося, що на майбутнє стане зі світом. Для наших дітей і для світу. Ми всі дуже зайняті. Мало часу маємо для себе, а для інших може трошки менше. І часом дуже тяжко знати, до кого звернутися, як є якась ситуація. І тут громада може допомогти, і СУА також. У Вікторії двоє амбасадори, Текля Яворська і Надя Мандачевська, згодилися бути нашими амбасадорами, щоб допомогти бути там, якщо комусь треба якусь поміч. Давай разом ідемо вперед і як з'єднана громада один одному допомагаємо собі. Дякуємо.
Пані і панове, привіт від управи громади Південної Австралії. Моє ім'я Френк Ярослав Фурсенко і я голова громади. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Association of Ukrainians in South Australia, I congratulate SUA on its fantastic initiative, Art in Lockdown. My name is Frank Fursenko and I am the president of the association in South Australia. Here in South Australia, we have been luckier than people in the eastern states. The COVID lockdown here was brief, and by mid-June, we were able to restart most of our normal community events. The school and dance classes restarted in mid-June, as did our weekly Friday nights at the Cossack Bar. Several weeks ago, we held our first major concert for 2020. It was a very successful concert and gave our local performing groups an opportunity to perform on stage in front of family and friends. Over the next few months, we will hold our annual Holodomor commemoration, the end-of-year school concert, and the traditional Malanka, while continuing to observe all COVID-19 protocols. Thank you, and I leave you to enjoy the Art in Lockdown event.
Dobry den. For those that don't know me, my name's Peter Bongiorni and I'm the Holova Hromada, or the president of the Ukrainian community of Queensland. 2020 has been a hard year for many in our community, here in Queensland but also all around Australia. Whilst us Queenslanders didn't have to endure one of the longest lockdowns in modern history, many have struggled with the challenges that this year has thrown at us. Here in Queensland we had to close our Domilka and cancel all of our events for about 4 months. But since July, we have been lucky enough to be able to reopen our doors, and we have had a number of social night events with members of our community. We've had to operate at a reduced capacity, maintain social distancing, and not allow dancing, which is unheard of at a Ukrainian event. But we've been able to restart engaging with the members of our community. Now, all of these events, they're good for the Ukrainian soul. It's good for us to be able to meet, to socialize, to drink a horilka and eat delicious Ukrainian food together. And it has been able to reinvigorate those that have been able to attend these events. The Positive Living and Wellbeing website we're launching today has been created to support Ukrainian Australians during this challenging time, as we know not everyone is in a position to attend a social event or a gathering of sorts, and some of them don't even know how to seek the support that they need. So this website is going to help bring us all together as an Australian-Ukrainian community. And I hope that every single person in our community that needs a resource for help or assistance uses this website, because that's what it's for. Thank you to those that have been involved in making this project, and I hope that many, many use it.
Hi there everyone, my name's Marina. I'm from the Tasmanian Association of Ukrainians in Tasmania. I've been asked to put in a little video about our community and how we're going and things like that. So I guess just by way of introduction, we are across the state of Tasmania. So we did have a Launceston branch, but we now work across the state. When we had quite significant restrictions in Tasmania, we did Zoom calls, phone calls, we put out regular newsletters and really tried to encourage community interaction. And I think we were reasonably successful with that. Sort of during that period as well, we were distributing our book, again, as far as safely as we could. And really sort of encouraging and doing newspaper and articles and things like that to really try and reach out to the community in around June, July. So we've really been quite active in this period. We also commenced doing our monthly gatherings again from August. So we've had an Independence Day function. We just recently had one in September and October, and we have a Holodomor function planned for November. So really trying to move forward there. And we also have a grant from the Glenorchy City Council which allowed us to purchase a laptop, which would increase that community connection. So moving forward into the next year, we're really looking to make sure that our organisation remains relevant to the community, that we do different activities that really engage the community to link with each other, but also to make sure that our organisation is sustainable moving forward. So hopefully that's enough and gives you a bit of insight into our community. I'm really pleased to provide this video, and I wish everyone all the best. Thank you.
Hello from Sydney. As you know, the situation here has been under control for many months now, and in most aspects, life is back to normal. But that doesn't mean that COVID is no longer a threat. We have seen in most parts of the world that the pandemic is worse than ever when measured by new cases and deaths. So the big message for us is to remain vigilant. As we go into the silly season with holidays, Christmas events, Tabata and family gatherings, all bringing together larger numbers of people, we must remember to be sensible and remember the health warnings and regulations applying in each context. The website is here to help you, to be aware, to be informed, so visit it regularly and remain positive. We have come a long way and paid a huge price to be the envy of the world when it comes to managing this pandemic. We have all done a great job. Now is not the time to lose sight of all that we have achieved. It takes just a little bit of added attention to do things the right way and to keep your families and communities safe. Veselих свят.
Шановна українська громада, warm tropical greetings from the very top end of Australia, from Darwin. Also, congratulations with the launch of Positive Living and Wellbeing website. Мене звати Орест. I was born and bred in Ukraine. Дороги життя мене завели спочатку до Західної Австралії, а згодом до Дарвіна. I became Territorian since 2014 when I joined local St. John ambulance as a paramedic. In this video, I represent a really handful group of Ukrainians living here. You see, Northern Territory is really big, the third largest Australian division. Its territory could easily fit in Ukraine, France and Greece all together. But this large piece of land is really scarcely populated. It has only 245,000 population, majority of which resides in Darwin. So I guess its vastness and little population contributed to the fact that we are the least affected by COVID-19 place in Australia. Since early June, we enjoy all liberties and freedom here, so it's easy to forget about global pandemic altogether. But Darwin is a transient city, and international and some interstate travel restrictions still are in place, and it does affect many community members, including myself. Я одружений на індонезійці, і моя сім'я проживає на острові Балі. Я не бачився зі своєю жінкою і нашими 1,5-річними двійнятами, доньками вже більш ніж півроку. Я також не бачився зі своїми дорослими доньками Дариною в Перті, Свінкою в Великобританії, мамою і сестрами в Україні. And I'm sure there are many stories like this. Many families affected to different extents by COVID-19. So how we cope, how do we adapt, how we can change our lives to even positive way. Many of my friends noted that during restriction times, in fact, they spent more and better quality time with their families. Also, others stated they spent more time on nature and became comfortable with solitude and used this time for self-reflection. Особисто я двічі провів час в карантині, і протягом цих повного усамітнення тижнів я інтенсивно займався йогою, медитацією, повернувся до малювання, почав вивчати гітару, серйозно вивчати індонезійську мову. Я започаткував і розбудував тропічний і гарний садочок навколо свого помешкання. What I'm trying to say, the global COVID-19 pandemic not only showed us that we live in uncertain times, but, and perhaps most importantly, that maybe we should change the way we live. Maybe we should slow down a little bit and put more attention to our souls, to our families, communities, to nature itself. This is why I really welcome Positive Living and Wellbeing website. It's born in perfect time and it has great mission to accomplish. I wish this website good luck and all the best in its endeavors. Щасти нам усім.
Welcome to the Positive Living and Wellbeing website. Good health, a good frame of mind and a positive outlook have always been known as the antidote to stress. We can learn volumes from our parents and grandparents who looked to each other for support in post-war years as they tackled the hardships of a new life in an unknown land. It is this Australian land that today embraces each of us and provides us with many avenues of support. The importance of community now, as it was for our families then, cannot be underestimated. Knowing that you have someone to connect with if you need to through your Ukrainian heritage, your church, your hromada, an old Ukrainian school friend, someone who shares your language or some history. All these things draw us together, particularly in times of uncertainty. Through the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations, this site is our depository for assistance that is available to you, your family and friends. It has links to positive living options, faith, community, uplifting messages. It's a place to share songs, activities for our children, information about community gatherings, to name a few. Each hromada around Australia has a nominated wellness ambassador, a volunteer who will work closely with heads of hromade to support Ukrainians in their state. I'm delighted to be the ambassador for New South Wales. My role is to be a point of contact for those who may need to reach out to the hromada for guidance and to share information with you via the wellness site. This is a time of trouble, not just for individuals, but for the whole world. I encourage you to look for creative outlets. Start projects you've been putting off. Find ways to connect with each other and rest during this period of uncertainty. Find new ways to do good. Let's continue to be the church even when we cannot meet within its walls. Let's work to do our best to promote the health and wellness of all people by making small personal sacrifices for the greater good. Together, we can find ways to persevere through the feelings of isolation and stress. We are in this together.
Well, congratulations to the Positive Living and the Wellbeing website launch. It's been a couple of months in the making and so much work has gone into it. So we thank you all, especially Christina Comet that has put this all together, has networked and worked tirelessly. Your commitment, dedication, passion and time doesn't go unnoticed. It's people like you that change a world, Christina. So thank you so much. And I'm just speaking on behalf of our medical practitioner team. This has been a challenging year on so many levels, and working in the front line, we have seen that it has affected so many community members in a number of ways, whether it be isolation, job loss, health, uncertainty, depression, increase in substance abuse, anxiety, and many more. This worldwide pandemic has left us feeling with a sense of fear, which may impact your health and well-being on so many levels that you may not even know. So from our team of experts here, we want you to ensure that you keep on top of your mental and physical health. If you are feeling disconnected or feeling generally unwell, please reach out and go see your GP. Maybe get a mental health plan done, go and see a counsellor, go and see a friend, and just reach out if you need. It hasn't been an easy time, and we are really trying to bring you some information too, and we will continue putting stuff on this website that will be helpful for you to follow. So, try daily to sit in spirit, walk in fresh air, exercise your mind, body and soul. Just do a little bit every day to help you get through this. It has been a really, really difficult year, but with a bit of faith, trust and prayer, we will get through this, and we're all in this together. If you need anything from our medical team, please do not hesitate to give us a call, to find out where you can, even get a phone call from us just to have a chat. And we're all here for you. Thank you, and thank you for all the hard work.
Добрий день, мене звати Christina Comet. Я на праві СУА і була організатор цієї програми. Хочу всіх подякувати, хто брали участь і віддає свій час і підтримку до цієї ініціативи. My name is Christina Comet and I'm on the committee of SOWA. It's been a pleasure and a delight to be the coordinator of this program, of the Positive Living and Wellbeing website, and also this event. I've also taken on the wonderful program of The Art of Lockdown, which we've been doing for SOWA for the last few months. And I'd like to welcome Natalia Moravska, who has been working very closely with me throughout the whole period of this program. And we have been talking and communicating with many artists and all around Australia. So Natalia, I'd like to welcome you to this conversation and then to introduce a number of artists that have participated in The Art of Lockdown, the exhibition that we are currently running for SOWA on Facebook. Natalia, welcome.
Good evening. Today I have the pleasure of introducing some of the artists from the Art of Lockdown exhibition. But before I do, I would like to share with you an extract from a comment left on the page, the essence of which captures the aim of the project. This page has been so uplifting and enjoyable. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible artwork, everyone. It has brought so much joy to my days in lockdown. Everybody has something special and unique to offer. It is incredibly refreshing. The first artist that I'd like to introduce is Luda Minichuk. Luda has played a major role in designing the Petrakilski artwork for both the Wellness website and the Art of Lockdown exhibition. She is an education representative on SUA committee and a very talented artist across many art forms. Luda, you have shown us that you have a wide range and wide love of different art forms. Can you just please let us know, explain to us which is your favourite art form and how that has helped you through this very difficult time?
Я думаю, що так як кожну сім'ю, і нашу сім'ю, і мене особисто, карантин перебив всі наші плани, що ми планували. Дуже хотілося чимось себе зайняти. Пригадалося, що в минулому році я робила з учнями Української братської школи Петриківський розпис. Якраз був час в цьому році удосконалити свою техніку, орнаменти повторити, композиції, як складаються, засвоїти більше. І дуже хотілося нових кольорів використати. Дуже мені сподобався на жовтому тлі сині квіти. Це щось таке незвичайне і воно підходить для нашого українського прапору, для нашої української землі. Це найбільше, найгарніша моя робота, що мені сподобалося. Також я люблю бісероплетіння. Це я освоїла ще, коли жила в Новій Зеландії, коли був землетрус, і група жінок зібралися і учили одна одну, що робити, чим зайнятися, щоб час проходив краще. І також я продовжую вивчати інші техніки і отримую велике задоволення. Недавно була осінь, мені так було шкода викидати виноградну лозу, і я вирішила її зберегти, і ось зробила віночок для Різдва. Це також щось інше я відкрила для себе.
Дуже дякую. Дякую дуже. Тепер я хочу представити Наталю Годенка. Since Natalia's arrival in Australia, she has shared her love of her art with the wider community, as well as with the Ukrainian community. We had the privilege and the opportunity to take part in the Samchenkivska masterclass. Thank you so much for not only teaching us to draw and to paint in this style, but also for sharing the history of this very unique art form. Your paintings have brought a lot of pleasure to everybody that has seen them. And what has influenced you during this very difficult time? Living in Sydney, your actual lockdown wasn't as hard as it was in Victoria. So how did you get through this?
Добрий вечір всім. Я дуже рада бути зараз з вами. Перш за все, я хочу подякувати творцям The Art of Lockdown за те, що запросили мене в проєкт і дали можливість ділитися своїми творчими здобутками. В Сіднеї, звичайно, був не такий строгий локдаун, це було лише кілька тижнів навесні. Це була європейська весна, австралійська осінь, перепрошую. Я художник, я по типу більше інтроверт, тож ці тижні мені було доволі комфортно, тому що я займалася творчістю. І саме як картини ще й на мене впливають, я хочу сказати дуже добре, бо коли я малюю, я ніби поринаю в інший світ, в інший вимір. Цей стан абсолютна насолода. Той, хто хоч раз в житті тримав пензлика в руці, мене зрозуміє. Коли я закінчую картину, то ніби народжується дитина. Зі своїм характером, зі своєю вдачею, Сідаю я малювати завжди тільки в гарному настрої, тому що знаю, що стан душі передається на полотно. І дуже важливо не просто виражати себе, а дарувати позитив, щирість і радість. Ну, хто був в мене вдома, той знає, що мій дім – це як маленька арт-галері. На всіх стінах висять мої картини. Хто приходить в гості, чи мої маленькі студенти приходять навчатися до мене, то вони завжди роздивляються, надихаються. От. А одного разу був такий цікавий випадок. Я знімала свої картини із стін для фотосесії, і стіни були пусті. І мій чоловік сказав: «Боже, як в нас вдома сумно і пусто. Будь ласка, не роби наш дім більше сумним». Дякую.
Дуже дякую, Наталю. Наступний наша артистка є Соломія Савак. Соломія є один з наймолодших. She is one of our youngest artists, and she's studying visual arts and advanced studies at Sydney University, with her other major being politics. What an interesting combination that is, Solomia. The Art of Lockdown exhibition has been fortunate to have you as one of our participants. And in placing your work in our exhibition, you have encouraged other young artists to come forward. And that is something that we truly value. Solomia, can you please share with us how you've managed to combine your studies and your paintings in this very difficult time?
Yeah, so at the beginning of my degree, it was really fun just constantly creating art, but unfortunately, as with most things, as it's gone on, and especially in the prickly end of the year, making art has really become a chore. So during this time, especially during lockdown, I wanted to find ways that I can create for myself and not for school or for other people, or making like fully fledged paintings or sculptures. So I've really been experimenting out of my usual comfort zone and been experimenting with plaster, and I've even made a bronze ring, and practicing with film photography, trying to not focus on the end product but focus on making it and how it makes me feel. So not really trying to make stuff to put on walls, but stuff that pushes my skills. And it's just so nice sometimes holding a pencil or a paintbrush and just doing something rather than sitting at the computer watching lectures on boring stuff like politics, which unfortunately isn't quite as interesting as I hoped. But yeah, just trying to constantly be making something to not calm down, but to do the opposite of that, to get pumped and rejuvenate. Yeah.
Like a fulfillment. It's really interesting that the younger artists that I've spoken to have all diversified greatly like you have.
Yeah. Like especially from school, from uni, it's really pushed my understanding of what art is. Like it's not necessarily a portrait or a landscape. It can be anything, like performance. Like we were learning about people who just sat down and had other people, like Yoko Ono, who it was all about the audience's interpretation and their involvement. It's been really interesting to push the limits of what I can do and what art really is.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, that's really enlightening. But, you know, as I said, that you have actually been a beacon for other young artists to present their work. That's amazing. Now I'd like to introduce Luda Korczynski. Luda is a Perth-based Ukrainian artist. She has held 7 solo exhibitions, is that right? And she has...
Yes.
Yes, curate, yeah, and
Yes.
actually 7, and has taught pottery. I'm completely mesmerised, Luda, by your 4-sided bottle. Absolutely blown away. Since Pesanke is an art form that I love, I am absolutely enthralled by your use of the Pesanke art form with pottery. It is just amazing. The combination also that you've used of the 2 cultures is also an amazing concept. And it's everybody I've spoken to especially about your wonderful bottle, I think there's about 50 people that would like to own that today. Again, you have been a bit luckier as far as lockdown goes in Perth. The Perth lockdowns haven't been as stringent as the New South, and definitely not as stringent as we have in Victoria. But how have you actually excelled during that time, and what has anything influenced you during your lockdown time?
Thank you, Natalka. It's amazing, really. It was lovely to hear Mia, because listening to Mia, she reminds me of my granddaughter, because, you know, I'm probably the oldest person you've got today. Here in Perth, our lockdown, the serious side of the lockdown, was just from Easter this year to June. And I remember that because I ended up in Perth having my birthday, which is in June, with the family, and we were allowed, the lockdown had finished. But it has been different because, as Mia said, art comes in many forms. And for me, in my later years, I have discovered the art of gardening, which I think is inspirational for people of my age. But at the same time, I've still got my finger in the art world and very inspired to continue in a serious vein when I have the time, which of course, as you get older, is not always so easy to do. But while lockdown was on, I was very pleased that I could still participate in an art project that I'm annually involved with in Perth, in Fremantle. We hold the homeless, the auction for the homeless. I've now been involved for nearly 5 years. Well, this was the 5th year, and I donate a piece or 2 pieces that are auctioned off. And this year, it was all done online. That's what I was involved with during lockdown. But the rest of the time, I went online and learned how to play the ukulele, which was pretty good, because I'm a piano player and I like to keep my music going. But I was in Walpole, which is a small country town on the south coast of Western Australia. The only thing I'd like to add to my little input is that, of course, my Ukrainian roots go back to pottery. My great-grandfather was a potter, and I'm very strong on trying to keep the influence with my grandchildren through combining my Ukrainian roots and Australia, because I think that is where the future is for immigration in Australia. I think the youth need to have an Australian focus, have a Ukrainian focus, but have an Australian continuity. And that's why I try, that bottle you were talking about was my effort in promoting that unification of 2 cultures. And I think it's to do with unity, so that as a community, we can always say we're part of Australia, but we have a Ukrainian heritage, of which I'm extremely proud, Natalka. So thank you. And Christina, you are just marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luda. I totally tend to agree with you, and it is such a wonderful thing to see people creating in that vein. It really is. It brings another level to our Ukrainian art, and I have noticed in these last few years that the pesanke produced by some of our great pesanke writers have also adopted that sort of vein. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody today for participating. I think it's just been a wonderful thing, and also thanking the numerous amount of artists that have actually taken part in the Art in Lockdown. It has been a project that Christina Comet has initiated, for SUA, and it has been my pleasure working with her and working on the project. I thank her wholeheartedly, because if someone asks me what has got me through lockdown, other than sewing thousands of labels on costumes, it is Christina and her Art of Lockdown that has done that for me. I don't know I'm probably a bit older than you, Luda, so I'm also in that age group where, it has been a godsend to me. So thank you to all of you for your work.
Thank you.
Dr. Natalia, thank you to everybody for your incredible words, and for putting perspective onto what has gotten us through this challenging year, and hopefully we have a new pathway ahead of us. And together with the Positive Living and Wellbeing site, please use that as a reference. It will be updated regularly. SUA is committed to this site and using it as a platform so that we can share SUM plus schooling, community events, staying together and connected as a community. And please stay in touch, look after one another, stay well, and always remember we are here for one another. God bless.
Від імені краєвої пластової старшини Австралії я тепло вітаю СУА та особливо пластунку Christину Comet за їхню ініціативу із запуском нової мережі позитивного життя та соціального добробуту. Пластун доброї гадки і дбає про своє здоров'я. Ці дві точки пластового закону спадають на думку, коли ми думаємо про ближче майбутнє. Під час пандемії та важкого карантину ми не можемо забувати один про одного. Нам необхідно з'єднувати українську молодь в Австралії творчими засобами та дати всім можливість почути від лідерів громади та інших спеціалістів у відповідних галузях фізичного та психічного здоров'я. Нова мережа СУА дає цю можливість. В час кризи пласт в Австралії мусив стати гнучким і креативним, щоб тримати живий зв'язок із своїм членством. Zoom став інструментом, без якого не відбувалася пластова програма. Ми стали свідками першого в історії пласту святкування річниці пластової присяги, всеавстралійської віртуальної ватри, свято Юрія, свято Покрови – все було онлайн. У Брисбені станиця створила змілість епідемієзнавство для новацтва та юнацтва. У Вікторії перевели конкурс із вирощування буряків та таборували вдома. А в Сиднею станиця планує перевести літній табір в рамках правил безпеки ковіду. Наші пластові акції підтримують дружні зв'язки по цілій Австралії. Я особисто бажаю вам всіх успіхів із запуском нової мережі та цікавих дискусій щодо мистецтва карантину.
Гартуйсь. Вітаю в імені Краєвої управи спілки української молоді СУМ. 2020 рік був складний рік для кожного з нас. Ми були часто відключені від родини, церкви, української спільноти і друзів. Ми навчилися спілкувати новими способами. Наші церкви почали висвітлювати святу літургію онлайн. В Сумі ми теж використовували сучасну технологію і нові способи продовжувати виховні і мистецькі програми. Сум дякує СУА за цю ініціативу програм благополуччя, додаткові можливості об'єднати нас. нагоди спілкуватися з ширшою українською спільнотою і додаткові засоби дбати про наше здоров'я. In 2020, our personal well-being, family and community links have been truly tested. Our Ukrainian community has shown much tenacity, resolve and initiative to keep us all connected. We've all had to adapt to new technology and new ways to keep linked. The Ukrainian Youth Association SUM continues to play an important role in our community, connecting together Ukrainian youth on a voluntary basis under the motto of God in Ukraine. Throughout 2020, we've continued to ensure our youth stay connected, and we continued to educate our members with a worldview based on Christian and patriotic traditions and ideals. The SUM National Executive encourages parents to enrol their children in a Ukrainian youth organisation and schools to keep connected. Now, if you would like your children to be part of an organisation which develops a sense of belonging to the Ukrainian community through education and cultural activities, through family days, outings and hikes, through local, national and international camps and zizde, then please reach out to your local SUM branch. If you're not sure whom to contact, please give me a call and I'll help facilitate a contact with your local SUM Osradok. In closing, on behalf of the National Executive of SUM, we thank the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations in launching this community support initiative on staying connected, positive living and well-being.
The site is here for you. And as I mentioned, if you look at the site, it has different parts. You can talk about strategies. I mean, how do I keep myself mentally, physically, and spiritually well? There are activities, there are community connections, there are places if you need help. The site is basically there for all our members of the community. And we're hoping that the community uses this, spreads it, because as I said before, a community which is physically, mentally, and spiritually strong is very, very important. And not no less important is to make sure that we look out for those who may need help, who may need a bit of support. Now let's look at what the site offers you. The strength of community is to unite during times of adversity. Strategies. In this part, we offer you a range of strategies in keeping positive and improving well-being. Staying positive. Here you'll find some of our one-liners and thoughts for the day, just to keep you on track. Community connections. One of the strengths of the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations and our community is that there are a range of community groups that keep us connected. Therefore, get involved with some of these if you're not already involved, and if you are involved, continue to support them. Activities. In this section, we have some great fun activities, but they are important, again, because they keep us connected. You might be asking, what is a phone tree? It's a good idea, not only in these times, but at other times to stay in touch, and often with those who may be on their own. You've heard about the, are you okay? That one question seems to be very, very important to many people. Video podcasts. We have a series of podcasts that have been prepared of people speaking about a range of issues. Some will be online and others will follow. To date, we've been able to share some thoughts about the art of lockdown and also had a conversation with our medical and counselling professionals. And finally, there is the help section, a section with contacts if you need assistance or if you need to guide somebody into assistance. Please keep in mind that these are only information. We don't provide advice, we provide information, and you'll see there's a disclaimer at the bottom in terms of this issue. We also have state wellness and positive living ambassadors in each state and territory who are there to assist you. This is a site to use, share, and promote. And once again, don't forget to share www.wellnessaussieuks.com. Hope that you can use this site and share it and that you find it beneficial. Just want to take this opportunity to thank Warren Denley, who helped us create this site, to all our members, especially our professionals, our psychiatrists, psychologists and counsellors who helped with populating the site, to Christina Comet, who coordinated the site, to people like Natal Komarowska and others who have been working hard in the Art in Lockdown program, and last but not least to Yusten Senko, the president of the Ukrainian Youth Association, SUM, in Sydney. He's our technical man who puts all this together for us. So thanks, Yusten, again for putting things together for us, because ultimately today this is a good way for us to connect. So please enjoy the site, share the word, www.wellness.aussieyukes.com.